It's Big Man Blastoise versus the Wild Blastoise. Going to unleash the Hydro Cannon, rocking this Tinkaton into the red health range. The opponent recognised they're going to get outpaced. Try to make the catch, Jai. Like, nah, trainer. It's simply not happening. We unleash the Skull Bash. Rocking Lapras into the yellow health range, Jai. Gonna overfarm, firing off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will be moving Lapras from the field of play when the Tinkaton does return. It's gonna find itself straight in and straight out as Blastoise. Gonna win the race, and that's gonna be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have an absolute banger of a battle submission from my Shadow Claw Factions teammate, They Love Jai. Today we're going to be taking a look at the run that he went on to not only hit legend rank but go all the way to 28th on the global leaderboards. Jai is not only a fantastic Go Battle League battler, but he's an absolute monster on the Show 6 circuit too. He was one of our standout performers for Shadow Claw, helping us gain promotion in our very first season. Jai was also recently crowned the Might and Mastery Australia Shield Champion with a phenomenal run that you can see on PvP Steve's channel. I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet and let's see how this team performs. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, Jai leads Malmar into Morpeko. We have less than 1 week till Shadow Inkay is released and I cannot wait. Jai going to stay in, over farm. Hopefully this is a Psychic Fangs bait or Aura Wheel is going to do monstrous damage. The opponent full send the Aura Wheel. Jai withstands the damage, throws one Side Wave and the Superpower. Superpower guaranteed to force the Protect Shield. We save switch into Tinkaton. Out comes Talonflame and we're off to a 0-1 start. Oof, that was rough. Today we've got 3 straight sets, so there are no hand selected battles. You're really going to see how the team functions against more or less everything in the meta around 3000 elo. Heading into the next battle, we see Malmar into Kanto Marowak. Jai strikes first, firing off the foul play, forcing us an early shield advantage. Jai happy to match Protect Shields. The opponent goes straight for the Bone Club. Jai could have fired off the next charge move, but it looks like he's willing to tank this one. Bone Club won't be lethal, but will get us low. Jai withstands the Bone Club, returns fire with the Superpower. Superpower, despite not getting same type attack bonus, does do more. The opponent very quickly find himself all shields down. Big Man Blastoise hits the field of play, wastes no time, goes straight for the Hydro Cannon, winning the charge attack priority, and just like that, down goes Marowak. The opponent sends out Wigglytuff, so I have zero doubt in my mind this is going to be some kind of nonsense, toxic, RPS fast move pressure team. We pivot into Tinkaton, baiting out Wallface, aka Bastiodon. My trainer, you are so incredibly weak to a Tinkaton in the back. Bulldoze is a completely garbage move, but hits for double super effective in this matchup due to Steel and Rock both taking super effective from ground. Jai more than happy to shield up the flamethrower, and if I'm being brutally honest, the opponent's hopes and dreams of winning this battle have very quickly been flushed down the toilet. Jai gonna overfarm, firing off one further Bulldoze. Bulldoze still doesn't get the job done, but undeterred, Jai says, "Don't worry, Jamie, I've got another one good to go." This Bulldoze finally removes Wallface from the field of play. Back out comes the Marshmallow. Honestly, trainer, please top left. What are you going to throw that's going to knock Tinkaton out? Icy Wind? Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Jai going to fire off the play rough. I know it's coming. It's time for that wham, bam, combo play. Pivoting out into Blastoise with that Hydro Cannon banked. And Jai will not be losing to any nonsense fast move pressure today. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Skeledirge in the lead. A pretty neutral matchup. The opponent has access to Disarming Voice that would be double super effective, but a lot now runs Shadow Ball and Torch Song. Malmar gonna strike first, firing off the foul play, forcing us an early shield advantage. If this is a Disarming Voice, we're gonna get one shot. The opponent fire off the Torch Song. Jai withstands the damage, very nicely over farms, maximising his Side Wave damage before the Incinerate registers and firing off the foul play, forcing the opponent all shields down. Big Man Blastoise hits the field of play. We're going to respect the boosted Shadow Ball, which is a huge Protect Shield, and Furret hits the field of play. The opponent's going to be immediately hard punished by Tinkaton. I'll be honest, I've got more reservations about Tinkaton. Its typing is phenomenal, but its moveset is pretty underwhelming, and that's me being quite nice. Bulldoze, a trash move, even at the best times, and of course we don't get the same type attack bonus. Play Rough, a pretty mid-fairy move, 60 energy for 90 damage. Moonblast, also 60 energy but does 110, has a 10% chance of an attack drop. However, its typing alone makes it a monster in the current meta. Tinkaton able to make very quick work of the ever common Furret. The opponent sends back out Skeledirge, get caught in the Incinerate animation. The snipe is successful, out comes Cradily. Even if Cradily was able to remove Blastoise from the field of play, Tinkaton's typing once again means a complete wall. The opponent recognise the game's over and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Dugong in the lead position. Jai gonna go for the foul play, not wanting to debuff himself. Dugong users love to shield the first move, but this opponent actually willing to tank it, so nice call on their part. Dugong gonna return fire with the Icy Wind and do what Dugong does best, force annoying debuffs on opponents' attacks. Undeterred, Jai gonna fire for superpower, looking to move Dugong from the field of play. The opponent desperate to force alignment, shield up the superpower and fire off their Icy Wind. Jai more than happy to work with his shield advantage, and big man Blastoise hits the field of play. Jai could play this one of two ways. We could have fired off 5 rollouts and the Hydro Cannon on the charge attack priority, or we could commit to the full rollout farm down. Jai opts for the second option. The opponent sends out Scrafty, we reset a debuff, and out comes Cradily. So things not looking fantastic. However, Jai has banked a whole heap of energy on Blastoise, and Blastoise should be in a prime position to close the show. While Scrafty is pretty advantageous into Blastoise and even energy, Jai's got a 2-to-1 shield advantage and a massive energy lead. Jai gonna fire off one further Play Rough. Play Rough isn't going to be lethal, and the opponent is going to commit to that full Mud Slap farm down. Jai fires off the Hydro Cannon, looking to move Cradily from the field of play before we get annoyingly debuffed. Down goes Cradily, back out comes Scrafty. Blastoise going to need to reach 3 Hydro Cannons before we get counter farm down. The first one rocks the opponent down into the yellow health range. Jai looks to commit to good timings. The opponent is going to fire off the Force Palmer. We really need to hope we don't get defense drop. Once again, Jai maintaining optimal fast move time, 1 roller and the Hydro Cannon. Can the opponent counter farm down before big man Blastoise reaches the next Hydro Cannon? Blastoise grins away, says no, reach the Hydro Cannon, and we take that game. And that is going to draw to a close set number 1. We started off pretty poorly, getting absolutely clapped in game 1, but Jai bounces back, taking 4 consecutive wins and hits Legend rank. Congrats, buddy. Heading into the next battle. We see the battle of fast move pressure, Psywave into Dragon Breath. Malmar has the pacing advantage in this matchup, taking only 10 turns to the foul play, whereas Dragonite takes 12 to the Dragon Claw. Dragonite invests to protect shield, the opponent then throw on charge attack priority. However, I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think the opponent should have thrown 1 turn before. Because like this, Jai can just shield, and now the opponent has to double shield if they want to keep alignment. The opponent very quickly goes all shields down, and just the Psywave damage has already got him into the red health range. Jai going to send out Tinkaton to operate as the damage sponge. Superpower going to hit for neutral, but it didn't do too much whatsoever. Out comes Registeel. Speaking of not doing much, this Bulldoze is super effective. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen a super effective move do so little damage. It looks like even 4 wouldn't probably be lethal, which is pretty absurd in the Great League. A Pokemon tanking 4 super effective charge moves. Flash Cannon removed us from the field of play, and it's all down to big man Blastoise to clean up. We invest to protect shield, shielding up the Zap Cannon. We're going to fire off this Hydro Cannon. 1 Hydro Cannon, going to get him low, but will not be lethal. The opponent then farms up, tries to catch onto Lapras. Jai says no, over farms, fires off the Skull Bash. Skull Bash instantly rocks Lapras down to round a 3rd health. Jai just needs to manage his energy well. He does exactly that, over farms, fires off the Hydro Cannon. It's going to be high Lapras, by Lapras. And when Registeel does return, the OG Tinkaton going to get outpaced. Blastoise reaches the Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Very, very good game. Big man Blastoise carrying Jai to victory, putting the team on its back. Heading into the next battle, we see the Malmar mirror. This is kind of awkward, to be honest. Fast move pressure, completely non-existent. Dark double resist Psychic, and Psychic resists itself, so despite the Psywave being a 1-turn move, each Psywave only does 1 as they are triple resisted. The opponent right off the bat go for the superpower and then dip into Galarian Weezing, and we send out Tinkaton. Oh boy, this is now the bait game. Jai must be confident this isn't an overheat. Oh! Oof, we just about survived. Holy cow. Tinkaton's monstrous bulk prevail in this battle as well. The opponent even unable to Fairy Wind farm us down, and they're forced to fire off a Sludge. Jai can now send out Blastoise. A debuff Sludge won't do much of anything. The opponent not wanting to concede a farm down, send out Corviknight. Big man Blastoise going to start unleashing the spam of Hydro Cannons. I think Blastoise is such an underrated pick this season. Feraligatr used to be the water type of choice, but Blastoise has very similar pacing. It's a bit slower to the first Hydro Cannon, taking 12 turns, but subsequent ones after that only take 9, so in theory you do outpace. One thing I do prefer about Feraligatr is the more user-friendly 2-turn move. Using a 3-turn move I think is quite easy to make catches on. Blastoise, doubled up on Hydro Cannons, going to fire off back to back, looking to force a shielding decision of the opponent. The opponent let go of Corviknight, send back out Malmar. Blastoise at this point was energy dry, so the opponent could have overfarmed, but they choose not to. Oh my days, this Malmar is very low. Jai needs to put on an energy management clinic here to emerge victorious. Jai forced the protect shield with the foul play, then goes to the hard hitting superpower. Superpower actually isn't lethal. Back out comes Galarian Weezing. Malmar, an invisible HP, able to sigh wave farm down, reach the superpower, and we take that game. Oof, what a win. Very, very well played. GG's. So we're about halfway through today's video. So what we've learned so far is that Jai can use the offensive pressure of both Blastoise and Malmar to sweep teams, and he looks to lean upon Tinkaton with his monstrous bulk and defensive typing just to soak some hits in that mid-game scenario. In the next battle, we see Jumpluff in the lead. So no thank you from Jai, a safe switch into Blastoise, the opponent fire off acrobatics, instantly rocking us into the red health range, and out comes Drapion. Jai able to reach back-to-back Hydro Cannons, which should force the first protect shield of the game. Blastoise has actually got Drapion into the red health range. We could send out Tinkaton. Look for the aggressive Fairy Wind farm down. We're actually going to send out Malmar. I guess the thought process is that Tinkaton is going to need to deal with Jumpluff. But I think the issue is the opponent's probably got a counter for Tinkaton in the back, as both Drapion and Jumpluff have negative matchups, and right on cue, Shadow Typhlosion hits the field of play. The opponent doesn't even respect the bulldoze. Jai recognised the game's over, and he is going to concede the match. Potentially, if we would have sent out Tinkaton there, with a 2-to-1 shield advantage, Malmar could have had some play, but it kind of is what it is. Heading into the next battle, we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, in the lead position. Jai going to strike first, firing off the foul play. Foul play goes unshielded, and Jai also looks to no-shield this move as well. Fly gets us low, the opponent then sends out Furret, looking to snipe. Jai able to reach the superpower. Superpower forces the protect shield, and the opponent's immediately going to be very sad at their decision there, as they're going to be hard punished by Tinkaton. In the first half of season 22, Furret was a very common, very strong pick. I think Dan Otto went like 7 videos in a row showcasing it on every single team. However, now with the introduction of Tinkaton, I expect this usage to drop, as this thing has completely no play, unless you're on Brick Break, but I don't think anyone's going to run that terrible move. It looks like Jai somewhat playing with his food here. I think he's actually trying to goad the opponent to send back out Talonflame, because if they do, we can immediately hard punish them with Blastoise. Jai goes to the undercharge, but Play Rough still removes them from the field of play. Out comes Talonflame. The opponent took only 2 rollouts, but lost almost all the remaining HP. Out comes Cacturn. Cacturn invests the protect shield, blocking up the Hydro Cannon. The opponent recognises the game's over, and they concede the match. GG's. And that is going to draw to a close. Set number 2, the Pikachu Libre set. Do we get a shiny? No, we don't. No RNG luck for Jai. I also don't have the shiny Libre. To be honest, haven't even hit Legend the last 2 seasons, or haven't even claimed one. Heading into the next battle. Malmar into Gliscopod. I anticipated us looking to go for a catch. It looks like the opponent had the same idea, firing off the Aqua Jet. The opponent threw the other charge move, anticipating us looking to catch a bug type move on something where bug is resisted. The opponent recognising if we're staying in a poor matchup, we've probably got something else. Doesn't want to see Gliscopod. Send out Drapion. We fire off the superpower, and once again hard punish with Tinkaton. As Steel, double resist poison, and Fairy takes super effective. The poison stings are actually single resisted. Fairy also resists Dark, so Drapion forced to throw non-stub Aqua Tails, or the Scorpion incredibly spammy, firing off Aqua Tail after Aqua Tail. They get us into the red health range. The opponent tries to catch a bulldoze onto Gliscopod, but we full send the Play Rough, removing Gliscopod from the field of play. I'm very surprised to see Drapion re-enter the arena, as Bulldoze, despite not being a good move, will be super effective. Bulldoze gets the opponent low. The opponent overfarm as much as they physically can. They're going to fire off the Departing Aqua Tail, removing us from the field of play. We send out Big Man Blastoise. The opponent going to reach the Departing Charge move. I think that's DRE. Did we get one turn bring in there? Yes, we did, but it's only an Aqua Tail, so essentially it doesn't matter. The opponent reveals their own Tinkaton in the back. We're going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon instantly puts them into the yellow health range. Jai now have a decision to make. Is this the Play Rough or is it the Bulldoze? Oh, it's the Play Rough, but Big Man Blastoise flexing its bulk. Going to reach the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon forces the final Protect Shield, and it is Malmar time. Of course, this isn't usually a good matchup for Malmar, but with a shield to hide behind, We're going to shield at the bulldoze, fire off that superpower. Superpower hits for neutral, and from this range is going to be all she wrote. GG's. Malmar is a Tinkaton counter confirmed. For anyone who watched the regionals that have just finished recently, Nighttime Clasher made me laugh, calling the thing a fraud, essentially saying that a lot of Pokemon, even with type disadvantages, can bully Tinkaton due to its slow pacing, and Malmar is certainly one of them Pokemon. Heading into the next battle, we see Gastron on the lead position. The opponent go for the body slam bait, which is more than fine for us, an easy tank Malmar. Gonna fire off the foul play. Gastron is such a boring RPS Pokemon. The opponent reveals they've probably got an RPS backline as they invest to protect shield, looking to force alignment. I know a lot of people like this annoyance now, but it really is not a Pokemon I enjoy whatsoever. If you're stuck against a grass type or a flyer, you're essentially crying. Yes, it's bulky and got good neutral play, but it's far too RPS for my liking. I'm very surprised to see the opponent 2-shield their lead when we send out Tinkaton, which probably suggests Gastron's partner in crime, the annoying Marshmallow, lurking somewhere in the back. Out comes Clodsire. We're going to fire off the bulldoze. Bulldoze, super effective, and once again does pitiful damage. Unfortunately, no defense drop either, and big man Blastoise hits the field of play. Even after landing a bulldoze, Clodsire is very bulky and probably not in Hydro Cannon range. The opponent force our final protection with the Sludge Bomb and then catch onto the Vulture Mandibars. Jai gonna overfarm and fire off the Skull Bash. Skull Bash won't be lethal, but does two things here. Buffs up our defense and is gonna put in a range where we can roll out farm down afterwards. Mandibar's gonna fire off the Dark Pulse. Blastoise with his buffed up defense, able to withstand the damage. Back out comes Clodsire. Jai, recognising the not a charge move, goes for good timing. One rollout and the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon isn't quite lethal, but Blastoise able to outpace to the next Hydro Cannon. Once again, putting the team on its giant back, or maybe Turtle Shell, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, you see Malmar into Shadow Gator. So I've been messing around with Sims for the Shadow variant of Malmar, and in the 2-shield scenario, if you've got an attack-weighted Malmar, you can completely sideway farm him down, which is pretty absurd. The opponent actually tanked the foul play as well. If Jai would have went for the superpower there, Gator would have actually got cleanly knocked out. The opponent played that really nicely, and they're even going to reach a departing Hydro Cannon on the incoming Blastoise. The opponent getting massive value out of their Gator. A lot of people like to 2-shield it and get value like that, but I really like how the opponent played that. Out comes Morpeko. Jai gonna fire off the Hydro Cannon, and I imagine pivot into Tinkaton. Jai actually stays in, able to reach the next Hydro Cannon. The opponent looks to deny her energy on the CMP type, but Jai can just shield, fire off his Hydro Cannon, and look to force the opponent all shields down. He does exactly that, and we really need to pivot or we're just going to get Thundershot farmed down. Right on cue, the pivot into Tinkaton, and out comes Shadow Jumpluff. Jai still with a shield tied behind, should be sitting in the driver's seat. Tinkaton, a complete wall to Jumpluff. Despite being ranked number 1 on PV Poke, it currently can only hit for resisted. Acrobatics, a completely busted move, but doesn't do too much when Tinkaton is on the receiving end. Jai gonna farm up, throw the play rough, winning charge attack priority. Down goes Jumpluff. Morpeko re-enters the arena. Jai farms up, makes the catch, back onto Blastoise. Is it necessary? Super necessary. The opponent go for the Psychic Fangs bait. Completely no bubble it, but we've got that Bulldoze locked and loaded. And finally, Bulldoze is going to look like on the right move when Morpeko is on the receiving end, and we take that game. And it looks like that game was against someone off Jai's friends list. Heading into the next battle, a commanding lead. The opponent safeswitch into Cradily, and this game all looks over before it begins. We're going to fire off the superpower, lightly forcing a protect shield. The opponent actually tanked the damage, but regardless, Tinkaton a complete wall to Cradily. Tinkaton's introduction at the halfway point in this season is kind of mad, to be honest. Tinkaton hard punishes the 4 most common safeswitches at the start of the season, that being Drapion, Sableye, Cradily and Furret respectively. We saw in the very first battle that Tinkaton itself is not a particularly good safeswitch, as if the opponent's got a fire type, you are cooked. However, Jai's got so much value having it lurking in the back, using it to hard punish the most common safeswitches currently in the meta. The opponent gives up on switch advantage, sending back out Lapras. We fire off the debuff play rough. I'm being fussy, I probably would like to see Jai hold that energy and fire it off against whatever's in the back, as it probably would have been more useful as we were so debuffed there. The opponent stone cold, even call the foul play bait, then land the Skull Bash. Perhaps this game isn't over after all. Out comes Jumpluff. Jai gonna reach the foul play. Foul play gonna do some very nice chip damage, and big man Blastoise hits the field of play. In the 2-shield scenario, I don't think any amount of baiting is going to give this opponent a get out of jail free card. The opponent able to fire off the first aerial ace bait. Undeterred, big man Blastoise fires off one roller and the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon forces the opponent's first Protect Shield, and Jai here looks to call the bait. The opponent go for the aerial ace bait, and that bait should seal this opponent's fate. Hang on a minute. We're calling this early. The opponent able to catch, back onto Cradily. Hydro Cannon removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Jumpluff. We fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Jai now receiving the energy for the Hydro Cannon, so we can just shield this up. Even if the opponent's doubled up, we will be winning charge attack priority. And this has kind of been a long drawn out battle, but Jai is going to eventually emerge victorious. GG's to both trainers. The opponent actually made that far closer than they should have done, as alignment was all in our favour. Heading into the next battle, we see Cradily in the lead position. The opponent opting to stay in. This is kind of a scuffed matchup. Our sideways are resisted, whereas the foul plays hit for super effective. So we're applying very little fast move pressure. The opponent shield up the first move, of course, and then fire off the very annoying Rock Tomb debuff. Jai heavily over farms, reaching the back-to-back foul plays, but the Mud Slap did sneak through, meaning we're going to lose the second move. The debuff foul play gets the opponent into the yellow health range, and we send out Tinkaton. I've actually been seeing a few Scorching Sand variation of Cradily in the Remix Cup, but I think in the Great League almost everyone runs Rock Tomb and Ice Beam, meaning despite the Mud Slaps being super effective, we are going to fully wall the charge moves. We fire off the Play Rough, go for the undercharge, send out Blastoise, looking for the farm down, and out comes Galarian Moltres. Blastoise going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon going to force the opponent's final Protect Shield. This is almost certainly an ancient power, as the opponent really has no need to full send a Brave Bird, as Jai is kind of forced to start shielding everything. Jai fires off the next Hydro Cannon on alignment, perhaps anticipating this Hydro Cannon knocking out. Moltres able to survive but unable to reach another charge move. The opponent sends out Cradily. Jai gonna farm up, fire off the Hydro Cannon. Cradily is still alive and can be used as a third shield. Oh, there's the catch. The opponent makes a very nice catch, catching back onto Cradily. We send out Tinkaton, but Tinkaton is so low on HP. Jai going to invest a Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Rock Tomb. Is a debuff Play Rough going to be enough to knock out? I guess we'll never know, as the opponent's able to win the race. Fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb removes us from the field of play. The opponent able to Bullet Seed farm down Blastoise, and that one ends in heartbreaking defeat. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. A huge shout out to Jai for not only hitting Legend rank, but also page 1 of the leaderboards and 28th globally. Very impressive stuff. Today's team, a very powerful climbing team. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Tinkaton, but you can see just how much value it's got. As I've said a few times in today's video, it is such a hard check for some of the most common safeswitches currently. So if you've got one, it's certainly going to help you gain some elo. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to a battle submission form is down below, and as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.